The title of my lesson is Multiplying Decimals. Good evening, my name is Shirley Jordan. I'm in the LOM class ME6629 for my 11th month. This is my sign-in menu for UDO 2. This next screen is where you see where I set up my lessons, and I ran into a lot of problems when setting up my lessons. This is where I went through my tutorial as far as going through and learning and trying to get an understanding on how to carry out the assignments as instructed. Here is where I chose interface, where I really didn't understand what it was that I was supposed to do here. This is back to my main lesson. This is where I actually went in and added my lesson in. This is where I had input media inset and asset, and wasn't able to create it at that point. So now I'm at the point of showing you where lessons were created in my UDO 2. Even went to the point of UDO 2 Teach and setting up the UDO 2 Teach so that it could be published to Facebook. Thank you, Tony McBride, for your help. Here is where I first did my first video and realized that I had to do a front page. So now let me get to the point of my lesson here. It was, first question was, who would benefit from learning the material? The fifth grade, this is fifth grade material, and it is meant to be used by my fifth grade students in doing this. The next question is, why did you choose your learning scenario? Well, I was at the point of trying to find some way to incorporate actually this lesson into my class. And I know there's a lot of work that I'm going to have to go back and do on it, but I will continue to work with UDO 2 because I plan to set up my classroom next year as a totally based technology. That's what I'll be working on this summer. And one of the things that I really want to do is incorporate and set up my room as a business where the students would come in the morning as they were to go on a regular job, and they would sign into a assigned computer for each student. Being that I have a limited number of computers, there would be computers where students would have to share computers, but one student at a time would be able to be on the computer. On Mondays, they would access the lesson for the whole week. And I would have what's in the morning that's called Team Time. Team Time is where I actually go in and I'll teach my mini lessons as to whatever the skill is to be taught that day. And I'll break it down into small segments because I found out that through my action research that students learn better when you break things down into small segments. How can it be, how was it, where was assessed to promote on Facebook user networking? Well, the interactive assessment is on Facebook. I didn't really get to the point of where I wanted it to be as far as putting it on Facebook. But I will go in later on and add more to that and take some things away from it. It'll be easy for anyone that would like to go into my Facebook and access that and use it. I'll show my activity as to my UDO 2 in this show here and go to that activity, which is here. As you will see here, this is my first thing, the introduction, a decimal words, many hats. It can be called a period that comes at the end of a sentence, a dot, and a point on the line, just to name a few. In math, it is called a decimal, and when saying it, you use the word and. The decimal separates the big guys from the little guys. In other words, it separates the whole number from from numbers that are parts of whole numbers. Go to my next slide here. And here I give a illustration of what I was talking about as far as the decimals, showing an understanding of how you count the decimal places to the right, the total number of numbers that are on the right hand side of the decimal. And then as you go through and do your product here, you move that many decimal places as to what you had in the two sets of numbers that were multiplied together to get your product. So it says here, so when you multiply decimals, multiply them like you would whole numbers. Then after you find the product, go back to the decimals and count the total number of decimal places. And finally, in the product, you're going to move the decimal point in the product, that number of places in the two decimals. My next slide gives you direction. And the title is Please Remember These Simple Steps to Multiply Decimal Numbers. And it has 4 different steps here for the students to follow. So next is where my assessment actually come in, but for some reason my picture is not showing. I haven't quite figured it out yet. I've repeated this several number of times. This is a good practice for anyone to use in their classroom, because I feel like the more students are actively engaged, and you can get more out of it. And another thing about this too, the LMS tool, is that I can go in, I can pull to see what each individual student did on what particular lesson. The way I want to set it up as to what I did here is set it up skill by skill and step by step, because if I can break it down to that point, I can actually pinpoint where that student is having problems. The effect and availability of this tool is available to anybody that would like to use it on the internet. And there are other available tools as well as this tool, like the Moodle tool and some other tools that I learned about in my LMO class. I would like to get deeper into detail about using these different tools. And like I said before, I plan to use this throughout the summer so that in August, when school starts, I'll be ready to set up my classroom in that personal learning environment for my students. And knowing that technology is the wave of the future, why not teach our children now how to use these different tools, so that as they move on and progress in their education and even to the college level, they'll be dealing with more of the LMS and the CMS systems throughout the rest of their careers. Like I said before, Dr. Gibson, I really appreciate what you did and showed me as far as challenging me in this class. And like I said, I will continue to work on it. And I think this will be a very effective tool for any professional, and not just in education, but in the business sector too, when you're training new people on particular jobs. Thank you very much.